In this video, I will be talking about the cost of ownership of my Lexus IS350. Hello and welcome to Marty Motoring. If you followed or watched the channel before, you know that I have a 2007 Lexus IS350. So I've gotten a lot of questions and suggestions to make a cost of ownership video on this vehicle, so here it is. So right now I am in kind of a winter mode. We're actually having a pretty nice day here for winter. I have the stock lip on, which is kind of beat up. As you can see, there's a lot of scrapes on it. But it's nice to just throw that on and use it for the winter. I actually lost the lower lip in a snowstorm attempting to drive in the snow, so that was a pretty bad idea. So yeah, that lip is gone. Right now I just crossed 160,000 miles and the car is doing great. I would like to get another daily on the channel so that I could do more with this, or maybe even upgrade to an ISF. So we will see, but for right now the IS350 is here and I really enjoy making videos on it, so I'm going to continue to do so. So I think these cars are the greatest bang for the buck as far as power, luxury, and reliability go for a relatively low cost. You can get one for under $10,000. The IS350 is 306 horsepower at the crank, while the IS250 is 204 horsepower at the crank and can come in manual and also all-wheel drive. They did not have all-wheel drive for the 2007 IS350. It was only available in automatic and rear-wheel drive, which is what my setup is here. It's a 6-speed automatic with rear-wheel drive, and honestly it's really good. Now with that horsepower, I get about 23 miles per gallon, and that brings us to the first cost, which is fuel, gas. This is not the most fuel efficient vehicle, and it takes the higher price 93 gas. Here in Pennsylvania, we have 93 octane, and it can run fine on 91. I wouldn't really go lower than that. Now the IS350 is gonna get less gas mileage than the IS250, just by a little bit. The 100 horsepower difference is totally worth it, honestly, as far as mileage is concerned. I've seen people get like 27 miles per gallon in their 250s. I have gotten 26 on one trip. That was just constant highway driving at the same speed. 91 and 93 are the more expensive gases that you can get, and unfortunately you have to use that to get the power out of these cars and just kind of maintain the reliability. Not to say they can't run on 87 or 89, but I don't really want to try that. I mean, it's rated for 93 and that's what it makes the most power with, so why not use that? Insurance. This is a hard one to answer because it varies so much for every person. Now I have full coverage with glass protection and all that stuff, so it really just depends on the insurance company, your age, your driving record. So many factors go into it. That's the same thing with loans. There's different interest rates, there's different amounts people put down, so your monthly payment varies. Same with insurance, it just depends what kind of deal you got going on. But yeah, I pay around $100 for this a month for insurance. That's full coverage, so if anything happens to this, it is covered, which is awesome. My deductible isn't super high either, so that's always nice. Tires. This car has an option of 17 or 18-inch wheels from the factory. I have 18s on here, and I'm running a 40 sidewall, 225 in the front, 245 in the rear, with the same 40 sidewall. These are cheaper tires. They are Antares engines. Honestly, these tires, for what they are Chinese made, and they have a great tread. They lasted since I got these wheels put on. I've had the same tires, so almost a year, and they still have great tread, great traction. I think they were like $70 a piece too. They had great reviews, so I just went for them just to save a little bit of money, and honestly I haven't had any issues whatsoever. Now in the rear, because of burnouts and such, the tread's a little less. I could get Michelin Pilot Super Sports or something like that, and I think I will get a nice dedicated summer tire once this is not my daily, but for daily driving these tires are great. Your tire cost could be $300 to $1,000 just to replace all four. Now these are a staggered setup, so they're skinnier in the front than the rear, and that affects prices as well because it's just kind of more expensive to buy two different sizes than four of all the same size. So another thing to consider. So we talked about tires. What about brakes? A lot of people asked how much are the brakes, what brakes should I replace it with? Mine are E-line slotted rotors and ceramic brakes from, it was a kit on eBay, honestly. eBay isn't always the worst place. It's not all Chinese made. This was made in Canada and they had OE specifications and they showed it was exactly pretty much what you can get from other more expensive companies, but this was the same. They had the same amount of slots and it would definitely look like a quality product and company, and I just randomly found them and thought I'd give them a try. Because I'm just daily driving this, it's not a race car or anything, these should be fine. I got the slotted just because it kind of looks cool and it does help with heat, gases, and I read up on it. It seems like it does something. Now, to what degree, I'm not really sure. I think the kit was $200 or $300. It wasn't crazy, and I put them on with a friend of mine, and they've been working great so far. I think there's plenty of life left in them for the price, so brakes really aren't too bad on this car, even though they're pretty big. Another big category is repairs. Are there any big repairs? Well, yes and no. The door panels, they have a recall. These have been replaced along with the dash. Now that was a free thing, but you know, I did have to go into the Lexus dealership, and some people have had to pay and some people haven't. It just really depends. I'm not really exactly sure why that is. Check out one of my recent videos, the alternator replacement, just kind of my experience with it. That was the one thing that went bad on this car. The alternator and the battery. And those components aren't even made by Lexus or Toyota, so that's really the only thing that's gone wrong with this car. Quick shout out, if you want one of these decals, visit martymotoring.com. We do have a limited quantity left, but you know, they are for sale there. It's been a very reliable car, especially with 160,000 miles on it. I'm pretty happy about that. Another big topic on these cars is the carbon buildup. Really the only carbon buildup I had was on the throttle body and kind of in the intake tube, and it wasn't even that bad. I'm not an expert on engines, I'm not an expert on Lexus. I've just been trying to get the correct information and pass it on to the viewers of my channel. Another thing I get asked a lot, changing the transmission fluid. I have not done it. I've been advised by many Lexus people not to do it because it is a sealed unit and you just don't want that metal debris that might be helping with shifting to come out in the fluid, and then it doesn't shift right. The car has 160,000 miles on it. At this point, it's not really worth it changing. Just try to get it to 200,000 miles, and it's kind of a good test to see how well this transmission will hold up. I've read people that have higher mileage and they just never change it, so kind of curious to see how that will hold up. So that's a cost you can avoid. Just don't change it if you have higher mileage, and you should be okay. So here in Pennsylvania, we have a yearly inspection. As you can see, mine's good until April 2019. I didn't really have to do anything for it to pass. They said everything looked good, so that passed. But that is another yearly cost, you know, your registration, inspection, depending where you live. We have safety and emissions, so I think it's like 70 bucks for both usually at most shops. So we got all of those so far, just, you know, normal things to consider. Another one is oil changes. Oil changes on this car I found have varied. The Lexus dealership wants 76 bucks. The other guys down the street only want 50. I know it takes 6 quarts of oil. I just use conventional because honestly that's what the car was designed for, and there's no real reason to go fully synthetic because that is a bigger cost, so that's something else to consider. The oil filters are pretty cheap from Toyota or Lexus. They're not too expensive. If you do it yourself, you'll save some money, but the 6 quarts and filter alone will still be, you know, around 30 or 40 bucks. So it's kind of just easier sometimes to go somewhere and get it done for 50 if you know they're gonna do it right. I usually take it down the street, pay like 50 bucks, and they change it out, and I'm good to go for another 3,000 miles. I just change it every 3,000 miles because that's just a safe interval, but that's my personal preference. Oil changes may be more expensive or less for you depending on how often you change it and where you go. So I pretty much list the mods almost every video, I feel like, but I'll just shout them out real quick again. I mean, I got Icon Motorsports grill, I have a Megan Strut Tower brace, I have VIP Motos aftermarket headlights, I have option lap wheels, 225 with a 40 sidewall, and 245 with a 40 sidewall as well in the back. Have VLAN taillights, and I did a video on that, so check it out. I have 35% tint. I have a roof spoiler from eBay, as well as the walled replica from eBay. I have H&R lowering springs with Sensen struts, and they've held up really good so far. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I have a bunch of other videos on this car. A lot of the things I've mentioned, I've actually made a video on in the past, so browse the channel, check that out. I appreciate you watching and supporting the channel. I think this is worth it for, you know, for what the power is, and that I have a luxurious Lexus that I can drive in. It's a nice looking car. It's comfortable. It's great for road trips, and it's pretty sporty too, and it handles in the corners. So it's like, it's kind of a good mix of best of both worlds. Good daily, good weekend driver. I would, like I said, I do want to get a daily on the channel, and I will be shortly. hopefully soon, so I can do a little more to this. I have a ton of cool mods I want to do this still and make videos about. So yeah, the daily should be coming soon, so that I can kind of go all out with this. That's my goal. Or do you think I should get the ISF and just abandon the 350? I know I have a good amount of viewers and followers on Instagram that really like the 250 and 350 and have them, so I kind of want to keep this car around for those people because just from everything I've learned, I like to pass the knowledge on. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Marty Motoring, DM me, follow along with the latest updates. Hit that subscribe button like I said, and hit the bell next to it. Get notified of the latest videos that I upload. That's an awesome feature. If you have any ideas for a daily, throw them in the comments. If you want to see something else done on this car, throw it in the comments. I'll try to make it happen. If you want a decal, hit martymotoring.com. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching Marty Motoring, and leave a little rubber on the road.